I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy. And today we're exploring the mother of all episodes. We need help with the mother wound.
Motherfucker.
Mother wound. But before we get into that, please, right now, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you use. Oh, sorry.
Sorry that happened, everybody.
I'm sorry that happened, but please like, subscribe. Right now, we need your likes, we need your subscribes, we need it all.
Yeah, we need everything. And go on to our website and look at our fabulously funny hats that are coming out with every episode.
Yeah.
So
we might do a mother wound hat, but who knows? Especially for Mother's Day.
I think mofo would be hilarious on a hat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The mofo wound.
Yeah, the mofo wound. So let's talk about why we're talking about this.
Well, in my recent exploration of myself, I've discovered that not masturbation, but the exploration itself. I've really discovered that how big of an effect having a mother wound, and I'll talk about what that is in a second, has had on all relationships in my life. And it just leaves a mark, and I realize it needs to be addressed, or at least recognized. So it's just something that I, as a 47-year-old woman, am just discovering now, like what it is exactly.
Livia Soprano said, it's always the mother.
She's right.
Yeah, we blame a lot on our mothers, right?
Yeah.
Because moms can cause a lot of damage accidentally, because
it's intergenerational. So they received it from their mother, and their mother received it from their mother, and it goes on and on and on. But I think, what we can do is just to explore where it comes up in our own lives. So we're not passing it on if we are mothers, or so we're just not, contagious. Because I think sometimes it can be like our behavior can be a bit toxic in response to it. And that's, other people are affected by it. So, yeah.
I think the important thing to realize here is everybody's they don't have a baby and think I'm going to fuck up this kid on purpose.
Yeah.
It's the weight of motherhood is sometimes overwhelming. Yeah. And we only know how to love by how we were loved. And that can be really nasty generation by generation by generation.
Yeah. And it's exactly what you said. It's not about mom blaming, because that's too easy. Like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, we're adults now, so it's not about mom blaming. It's about sort of recognizing the impact of that earliest relationship we had with the person who was like our first source of love and safety and identity, and just exploring, what that looks like. And, because that's what we're going to seek. We need to rest up right now, because a lot of us are getting into the age where coins are going to be flipped and we're going to be mothering our mothers. Yeah. I mean, it's actually happening a lot. Like, I'm seeing my mother-in-law start to make the transition where she has to be cared for more. We have to be careful not to accidentally flip that switch on our mothers. I think that's really, this is coming for all of us. Yeah. We're at a time in our life where we're starting to, or maybe we've already started for some listeners, taking care of and letting our parents go. It's really nice to be able to forgive them while they're here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happened? Where's your pain? Tell me your pain. Let's back it up a little bit and just talk about what that means. Because when I hear that word mother wound, I'm like, what does that mean, right? So at its core, a mother wound is basically any type of emotional trauma or unmet needs that a person carries from their relationship with their mother, especially from like early childhood. So it can come from what was done to you, like any type of control, criticism, neglect,
Yeah.
microaggression, emotional, whatever, that whole thing, or what was missing, right? So
Okay.
maybe warmth, safety, understanding, attunement, acceptance. So it stems from either one of those. So what was done to you or what was missing, right?
Yeah. Like a lot of times, like mothers are out there and they accidentally put conditions on their love.
Yeah.
That right there can be mother wound, right?
Yeah. Or,
Yeah.
when a child is crying or upset about something, a mom could just be like, stop crying. It doesn't sound like a big deal, maybe, but then it's like, okay, I was upset about something and it was just shut off immediately. And when that happens over and over, we learn certain mechanisms to deal with pain like that and stuff. So that could be like an example. And that's how it shows up. And then the way it shows up in adulthood, right, is people pleasing, self-doubt, difficulty setting boundaries, none of which we have.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Attracting emotionally unavailable partners, or partners that are very similar to that mother, which is interesting. Rage, guilt. So like just a number of emotional issues can come from that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this, nobody has a perfect mom. Nobody is a perfect mom. As adults, like, let's just recognize what that is. Let's send our mom
Yeah.
forgiveness and let's own our stuff. Let's own our
I
shit.
th I think that becoming a mother is a very good way to start that forgiveness process
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, like there is no one out there that's doing a perfect mothering job. It is absolutely overwhelming. It's even and I feel like I have the perfect scenario and it's still I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I'm not like so it is easier to forgive your own mother when you are you know
A mother yourself. Yeah.
fucking up all day long. That's how you feel. That's how mothers feel.
Yeah.
They just feel like they can't be good enough.
Yeah. And it's impossible. Sorry, you're going to fuck it up in some way, right? There's a Bukowski poem. I love it. I forgot what it is now, but I'll find it and post it later because it's so funny. And it's about you're just going to blame your parents no matter what they do. Like, they're going to fuck you up, your mom and dad, I think was one of the lines from the poem. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what they do. And then sometimes it's not even your mom, but it's like generations of women who are told to be silent or be selfless or be small or be emotionally numb or put everyone else first. So
Right.
it's not about something that they do to you, but it could be just in the household. Like if your mom denied her own needs and put everybody's needs in the house first, you're maybe going to observe and absorb that. So it's like there's lots of stuff in here, but maybe let's talk about how we experience it in our lives.
Let's do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, cool. So I noticed this it's really interesting because I've started a process of coaching with this
The
woman.
life coach.
Yeah. And she's helping me notice patterns because what I wanted to do moving forward in my life is not bring patterns from every single past relationship that I have into my relationships. Like, I'm like, there's a certain pattern and, I need to explore what that is so I don't bring it into my next relationship. And what I've noticed is in each relationship, I feel responsible for my partner's emotional soothing. Like
Mm,
my partner will freak out, or my partner will have a bad day, or my partner will be upset. And I will take it upon myself to be that emotional soother, right?
okay.
So that's something straight out of Compton, straight out of childhood. Because my mom was really often depressed or sad, or she had these states that made me nervous. And when I did something good, she was happy. When I did something bad, she was upset. So I felt like I was directly responsible for how she felt. And
Sure.
I've carried that into every single relationship I've had. So every time my partner
Is
is
dissatisfied in any
dissatisfied,
way.
I feel like I need to do something to make him satisfied, or I can't do anything to make him dissatisfied, right?
Yeah.
And that is a huge, once I started recognizing this pattern, um, I was just like blown away by it because now I'm working with how not to do that. Like
Right.
how to let my partner's feelings be his feelings and not me stepping in to fix it. Right. So
Yeah.
that's one way, a
Yeah.
major way it's shown up for me.
Okay. I love that you're doing that. It's a great process.
Yeah.
And okay, what what do you do once you realize that it's your mom's fault?
Well,
What do you do?
what I've started doing is, and not just my partner, but I've noticed it's everywhere. It's a lot of different relationships. Like I always want it to be nice in the room, right? Like I always
Yeah,
want people to be happy in the room,
me
you
too.
know? It's so interesting because during this coaching session, I'm having these flashbacks from childhood. Like I didn't think that was actually going to happen in the coaching process because I know coaching and therapy are very different. We had a whole episode about it.
Yeah.
But I'm having these flashbacks. Like my mother had a 40th surprise birthday party that we threw for her. And anytime she was unhappy or any guest was unhappy at the party, I was super, super, super nervous as a child. Like I would think I was
Oh
like,
my God.
and I remember trying to like make them laugh or trying to do something so they wouldn't be negative, like, or they wouldn't be nervous. And I had this thing. I came into work and there was two people having a conflict, and suddenly I had a flashback of my mom's 40th birthday party and me again trying to like
Yeah.
make them laugh or trying to like put them at ease. So it's about saying at that moment when you recognize it, it's about saying, I put my hand on my heart and I just
Hmm.
kind of like get into myself and don't,
Regulate.
I regulate and I don't step into soothing. So when
Okay.
other people are emotionally flooded, I'm staying out of it. I'm not trying to step in and be the soother, which is hard. So it's
So,
restraint for me, like restraining from being the soother.
so when I was a kid, my mom went through bouts of depression, you
Mm,
know, and there were days on end that it was like me taking care of Katie sometimes. I mean, we all know that I mean, if you listen at all, my mom has struggled with depression before.
yeah.
And I was in charge of things. So my instinct is to control the situation. Like if
Mm,
there is any volatility, I feel like I can control it because I did,
yeah.
and it is really important for me. And I recognize that. And I've been through therapy. I've been through a lot of different methodologies. And when I get upset, and Scarlett comes, she's very, very aware of my well being.
Mm,
I am it's very important for me to say, listen, this is not your cross
mm,
to bear. This is for me. I will regulate myself. It's going to
mm,
be fine. Nothing is going to, you know, I'm upset. You're going to be upset in
mm,
life. It's for me to deal with. It's not for you to deal with. I got this,
yeah.
and it's like because I felt so out of control as a child that it's important for me to her to know the security. I'm at the helm. I've got this. I don't need you
Yeah.
to take over. I'm you don't have to make the meals. I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so I think that, parlaying it the way you are doing into successful, healthy strategies with relationships, because I've seen this a lot with moms that have somehow villainized daughters
Mm,
or competed with daughters and made them the enemy in the house. I watch them. They continue to have female enemies for the rest of their lives.
wow.
If like I see it all the time.
Mm,
One of my husband's family members, like she never got along with her mom, and there, no matter what I am to her, I'm her enemy.
Mm,
I mean, I've made myself small. I've made myself big. I've this, I've that. I've tried
yeah,
everything to make her feel comfortable, and it just will not work.
yeah,
Because once, if you have that unhealed wound of the mother who
yeah,
was maybe didn't like you, you're not going to have good relationships with females.
yeah. And I think super for me, I'm just sharing my experience. Super important for me is to recognize that and then do the opposite of whatever needs to be like of whatever my mother wound tells me to do. And actively choose, like, for example, if yours is control, maybe from time to time, let that go consciously.
Yeah.
Or
No,
for
I do
me,
that
I,
every day.
yeah,
I do that
yeah,
every day. I
yeah,
am constantly saying, okay, this is not your cross to bear. This is not yours.
yeah,
Stay in your lane.
yeah,
Do, like I'm constantly telling
yeah,
myself that because if I see somebody becoming weak, I want to move in and help. I want
yeah,
to, that is my, like, it's my superpower.
yeah,
It really did help me understand and see needs even way before they get there,
yeah,
but I have to stay in my lane. I'm constantly telling myself that and constantly like recognizing that every not every situation is a siren issue,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. It's funny. I have
So
a friend, this is kind of unrelated, but it was a funny comment. I have a friend who works for an art dealer, and she called me yesterday and she was like all stressed out at work, and then she's calmed herself down and she said, suddenly I realized, Isabella, there are no art world emergencies. Like it was just so funny to me. And like, but it was such a great comment. And I realized like I could apply it to other places in my life because sometimes I feel like some things are like everything's an emergency, you know?
yeah,
So I'm just going to repeat that like there are no art world emergencies.
that's so good. Well, I can't tell you how many times I've said, okay, we're not heart
Yeah,
surgeons. This is
exactly.
not, this is not something that's going to be crazy. But I wanted to like, I was looking up different things that make you a good mom, like
Mm,
make you what I think I've done well with
mm,
Scarlett.
hmm.
And one of the things I think that I've been able to pull off with her as a mother is, teaching her it's not just it's okay. It is inevitable to fuck up. And you don't ever have to worry because I will be right here
Mm.
and we'll deal. You
Yeah,
can I'm actively teaching her how to most gracefully and successfully be a fuck up.
that's wonderful. Yeah, it's so similar. It's so interesting that motherhood, because I do leadership coaching, right? So, and training. So it's like so interesting how we tell the same things to our executives, like allow your team, your direct reports to mess up. Like, do they feel vulnerable enough? And it's the same for children. It's like you're the ultimate leader. A mom is the ultimate leader.
Ultimate.
So are you allowing your children to be vulnerable and mess up? And can they come to you when that happens?
And teaching them to laugh at themselves. I mean, my dad taught me that, just it being okay to be imperfect on a scale that is going to allow her to build an empire,
Yeah.
you
Or
know,
not. Like,
or not.
like, yeah.
I'm sorry, build her empire.
Yeah.
She is building something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's emotional connection on a way that just watching someone be watching her be upset and letting myself be solid for
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
not get upset with her.
Yeah. Because that's what would they call that? I think they call that enmeshment. When you
Yeah.
get so enmeshed in your child's emotional state that like essentially they become your higher power.
It's really hard not to, I think, for a
Yeah.
lot of parents,
Yeah.
because you're so attuned to them.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between attunement and enmeshment.
Yeah. Yeah.
One, you're in control and you're not putting your shit back onto your child,
Yeah.
because so if I got upset every time she got upset, she would know that she
That
couldn't get
she's responsible
upset.
for the way you feel.
Exactly.
And that's what we're talking about here. For me, that's how I felt. I was directly responsible for her feelings because that's what I was shown. When I got a
Yeah.
bad grade, she was upset. When I got a good grade, she was happy, rather than just being neutral, like, cool, great, you know?
Yeah. And not taking because and it really comes down to the ego is I'm connecting with your successes as my own.
Yeah,
That's a huge one. Like Scarlett, like, she's pretty amazing horseman.
yeah,
And people will come up to me and say, "Oh my God, you must be like over the moon." I'm like, "Well, I mean, I'm not doing it." Like I would be super proud if like
like I'm
she's
proud,
doing
but
it.
yeah,
I'm sure she's proud of herself.
yeah,
You know, I mean, and my goals for her are certainly not what her goals for her are.
yeah,
It's like not having the same goals for a child as they do. Like, I
yeah,
want her to be healthy. I want her to be joyful. I want her to be grateful. Those things are not, she wants to win the Olympics
yeah,
on horse. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we're not even close to having the same priorities there,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Um,
Um,
Something that's interesting that I've discovered during this process of about like learning about the mother wound as well is where we gravitate towards in relationships. And so I wanted to sort of explore this topic with you as well, and we could put a pin in it if you want to say more stuff about being a good mom, but
no, 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 I don't want to.
gravitating towards, so it's interesting because when I've looked at the pattern of all my past relationships, I had gravitated towards partners who had similar emotional structure as my mom. And I'm
Okay.
like, why didn't I choose somebody who had a similar emotional structure as my dad? Like, why did I choose sort of the parent, the mom rather than the dad, right? And it reminded me of this therapist that was talking about in a relationship, your relationship is as healthy as the least healthy partner. And so that was interesting. So I choose like the lesser healthy partners. And then I started digging a little more, and it's actually scientific because your mother is the place of safety when you're like a
Mm-hmm.
baby and when you're young. And even if that was emotionally a bit toxic, your brain is still going to be associating that with that place of safety.
Yeah.
So, some people like, they talk about how hard it is to leave a toxic relationship. If you explore the mother wound and you realize that your partner is similar to your mom in their emotional structure, you realize why it's so hard to leave your partner because you don't leave your mom, right? Like you don't break up
Right.
with your mom, and it's this your
Right.
brain, it's the same frequency. So that was like, whoa, that was super interesting to me, like exploring that. I'm not sure if you've had that experience where you choose partners that are similar to either parent or
You know,
emotionally.
I I don't know. In my childhood, and I mean, my mom and I joke about this and everything. I mean, I look exactly like her. But in my childhood, I honestly did not falter for a second thinking that I didn't belong to the family that I was in. And there was just, I felt a call towards something else.
Hmm.
So I glommed onto a lot of mentors that, I thought were going to teach me or help me grow.
Hmm.
But I mean, in my 20s, I glommed onto some pretty dysfunctional people.
Hmm.
Also, I was dysfunctional, so I can't really say.
Hmm.
but I don't know, I instinctively knew not to
Mm, yeah,
go
that's
with
good.
that. I think, but I also, I mean, I wasn't dealing like with you know, if you got a good grade, it mattered. My mom, you know, I was insecure in the way that like for 3 days she would be in her bedroom.
Mm, hmm.
So, you know, that I think I knew I did not want that no matter what. And I didn't want to be
Okay.
that kind of mom.
Yeah.
So I don't know that if I raged against it, but I also think I had for the other, 27 days of the month, I had a really in tuned mother who
Yeah.
was very emotionally connected, who really raised us in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really did. Like what she was so progressive for that time when
Yeah.
you like she really was.
Yeah.
So I think my mother wound, oddly, is a little less,
Hmm.
than I feel like you got waterboarded a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because every day it was like you're accepted, you're rejected, you're this, you're that,
Yeah.
you're not doing it, you're doing it. And my
Yeah.
mom was like 20 or
Yeah.
all the days, everything I could do was like she loved me no matter what.
Yeah.
Even in those 3 days of depression, every couple months,
Yeah.
she still loved me.
Yeah. And you know what? I think here's why we should give mothers, and I love what you're saying, and this is why I think we should give mothers some slack because no matter what you do, you could fuck it up. Because every child needs something a little different. And I'll give you an example. So, my good friend Maria, she was telling a story of how her and her sister reacted to the exact same situation very differently. And remember, they were going to a pier, on the water, and her mom decided just to jump into the water. And
Yeah.
Maria was like, "Oh my God, this is so fun. My mom is so fun. Like, yeah, let's do this." And her sister was terrified. She was like,
Yeah.
"I can't believe how she's doing this. She's going to drown. I'm terrified." Same experience, two very different reactions because this sister needs something and this sister needs something else. So it's so hard for a parent to do the right thing because you're going to traumatize your kid. Like, even if you try your very best, your kid might be
Well,
traumatized, right?
in my opinion, and I wholeheartedly believe this, that we choose our parents, we choose the people in our life. Our
Mm,
children these are things that we are here to learn. Like when you start
mm,
to look at that, you're less of a victim.
yeah,
Like when I think to myself, okay, by picking my mom, I learned to be the most nurturing human being on earth.
yeah,
I learned to be extremely magical and playful. By choosing my father, I learned to, be really, really funny,
yeah,
and being like, not taking myself so seriously and stuff like that. So, like, learning that
yeah,
these people are here to teach you through their failures as much as they are your successes
yeah,
kind of gives you an insight on how to go forward with things that somewhat feel
yeah,
unacceptable.
yeah,
you know it's like I guess it feels when the way I look at it is, because I do have a huge faith in something bigger than myself.
yeah,
I know that I'm here to learn more
yeah,
and to become better.
yeah,
And my parents did a great job at giving me those tools, putting more tools in my tool belt to be a more rounded self. And once we start to look at parents like, oh, they don't know everything when they get here. It's their first time here, as
yeah,
far as we know.
yeah,
Like, let's just, they're not, they're just because you can have sex and get pregnant doesn't mean that you're ready for parenthood.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also reminds me, we did an episode, I Am Not Your Guru, with Tony Robbins, a few episodes, quite a few episodes back. But I remember this girl was sharing in that Tony Robbins special on Netflix, I Am Not Your Guru. She was like blaming her dad for a lot, and then Tony had her talking about the good stuff she got from her dad.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of what you're talking about. Like, I love that you mentioned you got your sense of humor and your, spontaneity and your creativity and your love and all this stuff from your parents, because we tend to focus on the wound part because I think it hurts more.
Well, yeah, I mean, when something, our reptilian brain is naturally going to find out what's wrong so we can
Yeah.
survive. Like, that's
Yeah.
what we're supposed to do. But in the end, like, if you start to focus on the good
Yeah.
in it, I'm not saying gloss over the bad, because that's not fair either.
I think what we're talking about, focus on the good, but then just address the bad and come up with some strategies to manage that. Right?
Yeah,
Like whatever that is, if that's therapy, if that's coaching, if that's for me, it's when I'm feeling it, stopping it and doing the opposite. Whatever that
right.
is for you, like get some therapy, get a coach, figure it out.
Yeah. And at least acknowledge that the human existence is never perfect.
Mm-mm.
It's just never. And, we're all imperfect. We're all trying our best. And there's no way that, people gave birth to a baby and said, okay, I'm going to really fuck this kid up on purpose.
Yeah.
But it is incentive to deal with your bullshit because from a mother's perspective and how I was a 34-year-old mother when I gave birth to her. So I was a little older and I
Yeah.
had understood and I
Benefit
had
of
lost a
experience.
child.
Yeah.
So it was like I really wanted to, we call her our social experiment, but I really wanted to do my best
Yeah.
emotionally and, from a standpoint. And forgiving my mom for not being perfect was the first step of that,
Yeah. Amen. Oh,
you know.
love it.
Well, I love you.
I love you too. What a great episode.
Yeah, I hope it
What a
helps
great
people.
episode.
And I know it helped me.
Yeah.
It helped,
It helped me
it
too.
did. It helped me remind myself that I'm doing a pretty good job.
You're doing a great job.
I'm really, she's so wonderful. And I hope everybody's can look at their children or look at their mother the way I do,
Mm, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I'll
Love
see
you
you
so
next Tuesday.
much.
See ya. I love you so much. I won't mind do it. Thank you so much for joining us this week on We Need Help, the podcast.
Make sure to like, subscribe, like again our YouTube channel, our Instagram, follow us wherever you can. It really, really helps us out and ensures that you won't miss any future episodes. So, yep, thanks to you, we can keep going.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.